What would you do if your only son betrayed you on a stormy night? Kofi did the unthinkable. He forced his frail mother out into the raging tempest. The rain was merciless, a torrent that soaked Abenaa's frail frame. She stood by the iron gates of Kofi's mansion. Lightning illuminated her trembling figure, soaked and shivering. Her thin garment clung to her weakened frame. She huddled into herself, the cold seeping into her very bones. Could it be true? Her own son, the child she had suffered so much to protect, had cast her out like a stray animal. She looked up at the churning sky, tears freezing on her cheeks. "Oh, Creator," she whispered, her breath misting into the frigid air. "Is this how my story ends? What happened in the darkness of that night will grip your heart and shock you to your core." It was the start of a crazy, conflicting adventure. My name is Kofi. This is how my betrayal story began.
Hello guys, haven't subscribed yet? Please subscribe now, hit the like button, and leave a comment to help.
A mother's betrayal. Abenaa's story began in the small coastal town of Unthinkable, where the sea whispered secrets and the stars watched over humble homes. Abenaa, a widowed mother, lived for her only son, Kofi. Her husband had been lost to the ocean when Kofi was barely 3, leaving Abenaa to face a world of hardship alone. She toiled under the scorching sun, mending fishing nets, cleaning houses, and selling smoked fish at the market to ensure Kofi had food, clothes, and a chance at school. Nights were long, her stomach often empty so Kofi could eat. When fever struck him, she trekked miles to beg for medicine, her bare feet bleeding on rocky paths. Kofi, with his bright eyes, would hold her hand and vow, "Mama, I'll make you proud one day." Abenaa would smile, her heart warm despite the ache, and whisper, "Just be a good man, my son. That's all I need." By some hard work and miracle, Kofi excelled in school. His sharp mind earned him a scholarship to a prestigious university in Accra. On the day he left, Abenaa pressed her last 200 cedis and a worn prayer bead into his hands. "Never forget your roots, Kofi," she said, her voice trembling with hope. He nodded, promising to return as a man she could be proud of. Years passed like waves on the shore. Kofi became a titan in Accra, his name synonymous with wealth, luxury cars, sprawling estates, and a chain of tech startups. He married Seraphina, a stunning city woman whose beauty masked a heart of stone. Her laughter was sharp, her demeanor colder than the Atlantic breeze. At first, Abenaa's heart soared when Kofi brought her to his grand home in Accra. She dreamed of quiet days with her son, surrounded by the fruits of her sacrifices. But Seraphina's disdain was immediate. "Why does this village woman clutter my house?" she'd sneer. "Her prayers echo like noise. Her faded clothes embarrass us." Kofi tried to defend Abenaa, but Seraphina's venom was relentless, her words a daily assault. Abenaa, ever humble, stayed silent to keep peace. She prayed softly in her corner, her beads clicking like a heartbeat. But suspense hung heavy in the air, like a storm brewing over the coast. One fateful night, as thunder cracked and rain lashed the city, Abenaa sat quietly, her lips moving in a soft prayer. Seraphina's patience snapped. She stormed into the living room, her eyes blazing. "This woman must go. Tonight," she demanded. Kofi returned home to find his wife's ultimatum ringing in his ears. "It's me or your mother." The room grew still, the air thick with tension. Abenaa looked at her son, her heart pounding. Waiting for his choice, Kofi's face hardened, his voice barely a whisper. "Mama, please step outside. I'll talk to you later." Abenaa's breath caught. "Kofi, but it's pouring, raining heavily," she murmured, her voice breaking. He looked away, jaw tight. "Just go, Mama." Barefoot, clutching her prayer beads, Abenaa stepped into the storm. The door slammed shut behind her, a sound that echoed like a gunshot in her soul. The rain was merciless, a torrent that soaked Abenaa's frail frame. She stood by the iron gates of Kofi's mansion. Lightning illuminated her trembling figure, soaked and shivering. Her thin garment clung to her weakened frame. She huddled into herself, the cold seeping into her very bones. Could it be true? Her own son, the child she had suffered so much to protect, had cast her out like a stray animal. She looked up at the churning sky, tears freezing on her cheeks. "Oh, Creator," she whispered, her breath misting into the frigid air. "Is this how my story ends?" Passers-by hurried past, their umbrellas shielding them from her pain. Inside, Seraphina laughed over wine with friends, while Kofi sat on a leather couch, his heart a battlefield of guilt and pride. "She'll be fine," Seraphina said dismissively. "Let her learn her place." Kofi said nothing, his silence a heavier burden than the storm outside. Hours crawled by. Abenaa's strength waned, her body icy, her breath shallow. At midnight, she collapsed by the gates, her beads slipping from her hand into the mud. Dawn broke, and a kind street vendor spotted her lifeless form. He rushed her to a hospital, her pulse faint, her body cold as death. When Kofi heard, panic seized him. He raced to the hospital, finding Abenaa on a bed. He ran to the hospital, finding his mother on a sterile bed, tubes in her nose, machines beeping a fragile rhythm like a countdown beabenade her eyes closed. He fell to his knees, sobbing, "Mama, please don't leave me." But Mama Abenaa didn't open her eyes. "I'm sorry." The doctor's words were grim. "She's hanging on by a thread. It's a miracle she's alive." Kofi's world shattered. He stayed by her side, wiping her face, whispering prayers, haunted by memories. Abenaa carrying him through dusty paths, selling her only gold bangle for his school fees, singing to him through hungry nights. The weight of his betrayal crushed him. He returned home, his eyes burning with resolve.
Hello guys, haven't subscribed yet? Please subscribe now, hit the like button, and leave a comment to help.
Facing Seraphina, he said, "You turned me against my own mother. This ends now." Seraphina laughed, mocking his sudden courage. But Kofi was unyielding. "I choose her." By morning, divorce papers were on Seraphina's table, his decision final as stone. Seraphina's vengeful court battle. Furious and humiliated, Seraphina sought comfort and counsel from her circle of elite friends. They stoked her anger, whispering about the injustice and encouraging her to fight for every penny. "He can't just throw you aside like that," one friend declared, while another promised, "We'll pool resources, Seraphina. You'll have the best lawyers. He won't know what hit him." Buoyed by their assurances, Seraphina initiated a bitter legal battle, demanding a significant portion of Kofi's vast wealth. The court proceedings were long and draining, the city's tabloids feasting on every sordid detail of the once glamorous couple's public war. Seraphina's friends, however, slowly receded. Their promises of financial support vanished, replaced by excuses and eventual silence as the legal fees mounted. Seraphina found herself sinking deeper into debt, her legal team demanding payment she couldn't afford. The judge, swayed by the overwhelming evidence of Kofi's business dealings being largely pre-marriage and Seraphina's own extravagant spending, ruled largely in Kofi's favor. The legal defeat was devastating. Seraphina was forced to sell off her luxurious cars, her designer wardrobe, and even her once grand apartment. Yet, it wasn't enough to cover the legal costs and her mounting debts. Stripped of her wealth, her status, and her so-called friends, Seraphina found herself homeless, a pariah in the very society that had once adored her. With nowhere left to turn, she decided to trace her roots back to the distant, humble village she had long since abandoned and scorned, hoping to find a forgotten solace there. Redemption and legacy. Kofi rented a modest flat near the hospital, cooking for Abenaa, cleaning her, praying by her side. One quiet morning, as he hummed a hymn from their village, Abenaa's eyes fluttered open. "Kofi, is that you?" she whispered. Tears streamed down his face. "Mama, I'm here. Forgive me." Her weak hand touched his cheek. "My son, I forgave you before you asked. A mother's love never fades." Kofi broke down, his head on her chest, a child again in her arms. From that day, Kofi transformed. He built Abenaa a cozy home by the sea, hired nurses, and treated her like royalty. Seraphina, once the proud queen of Accra's elite, faded into obscurity, her name a cautionary tale whispered in markets. Abenaa grew strong, her laughter echoing once more. Kofi founded the Abenaa Foundation, pouring his wealth into supporting widows and orphans. His speech is a testament to his mother's love. Honor your parents while they're here, he'd say. Don't wait for regret to teach you. Abenaa became a beacon of hope, her story touching hearts across Ghana. Her tears had birthed a legacy, her pain a path to redemption. Kofi's empire grew, but his greatest treasure was the woman who'd given him everything. Each morning, he'd kneel before Abenaa and say, "Mama, thank you for never giving up on me." And she'd reply, "My son, a mother's love is like the sea, it never runs dry." Kofi almost lost the one person who sacrificed everything for him. How often do we wait until it's too late to show gratitude? Take a moment today to call, hug, or thank someone who stood by you. Who would you never want to lose? Tell us below, and let's honor them together. Subscribe for more powerful stories like this.
Hello guys, I hope you enjoyed our stories. Please hit the like button, leave a comment below and subscribe to our channel.